Hi, this is Cindy again, and this is the second part of my video. I was talking about um, health equity and social determinants of health, and I want to give you an example with premature death rates and years of potential life loss. That's YPLL. So, just to recap, in the last video, we learned about disparity and health inequities of death. So, disparities cannot be avoided, and these are differences in health where, for example, older people die more than younger people. That just can't be avoided. That's a disparity. But when such disparities can be avoided and they still happen, they're called health inequities. And this is because of unfair distribution of social determinants of health, which we've already touched on. Um, an example as far as death is men of color die before the age of 75 at a higher rate compared to white men. So why PLL? General death rates don't really tell the entire story of mortality rates. When people get sick, they die. So most sick people will die. Accidents will happen. People will die. Older people will die. And a lot of disease trends have old adult data because that's where most of the deaths occur. But then when we talk about years of potential life loss, then we can go into looking at where the disparities or the inequities actually are. So for example, actually years of potential life loss estimate the average time a person would have lived if they hadn't died prematurely. So for example, if we set it at 75, which is most common, although some books or literature or articles set it at 65. So if we set it at 75, if a person dies at 10 years old, they've lost 65 years of potential life loss. On the other hand, if a person dies at 65, then they've only lost 10 years of potential life loss. So when you have a situation where one race or one ethnicity or one neighborhood has a lot more people are dying before the age of 75, then that particular area or ethnicity or race has a higher YPLL, which is an issue. So this is greatly impacted by the deaths of younger people, obviously, because that's the measure. So it helps account for the lost contribution of an individual would have made to society. So for example, a child dying at 1 year old could have made 74 years of contribution to society compared to an individual that dies at 74 that probably made a lot of contribution to society. And please excuse that 32, that's a typo. So using YPLL to measure premature mortality can highlight inequities in diseases and death burdens within certain groups. Here's a data example, and this is an actual showcase of data that I've worked on at my previous job. When you look at cancer, for example, if you look at males and females, females have a higher cancer YPLL compared to males, so there's an inequity there. But also because females live longer and are more susceptible to chronic diseases compared to males who die more from accidents, which is shown by row 3. If you look at accidents, the YPLL of males is 9.3 compared to females, which is only 5.6. In heart diseases, you have blacks at a higher disadvantage compared to the other race and ethnicities, and stroke as well, blacks. So this is an example of the first 4 causes of disease in the area that I worked in. And this is a spatial YPLL. I don't have all the other data that I'm referencing, but I just wanted to kind of showcase that when you highlight it in a map, you can tell that, for example, the darker areas are higher YPLL. And so you could tell which areas are more affected. So I mapped out poverty, I mapped out education attainment, and I mapped out segregation. And I found that YPLL rates are higher in those cities that are mostly segregated, that are at a poverty disadvantage and have lower educational attainment. So this just shows us that social determinants of health play a really big role when it comes to the health of individuals and how long people get to live. So YPLL again is a key influencer of social determinants of health. It gives us in public health a great way to track disparities and inequities, because remember, health equity, everybody has a right to thrive and to live to their fullest. I love this article. It's a philosophical diagram of the 7 ages of man. Death is only a tragedy if it happens before that cycle is complete. So a life is complete if it passes through all those circles. And when death is, when premature death happens, then that's a tragedy. So policymakers should ensure that all social determinants of health are addressed in various ways so that people can pass through those stages and have wholesome lives, and health inequities can be reduced. Thank you.